Nicole sat alone in her quiet apartment. The evening light was fading. She looked at her reflection in the dark window. Her eyes were hard. "This time I will finish it," she whispered to the glass. "My sister Grace will not win. Not this time." Nicole picked up her phone. Her fingers pressed the numbers quickly. "Officer Brady, come in," she said when he answered. "I have some important news about the car investigation. It cannot wait." Officer Brady arrived a short time later. He was a tall man, always serious, in a dark suit. The air in the room felt heavy when he entered. Nicole had prepared tea. She poured a cup for him. "I know everything now," Officer Brady began, his voice low and serious. He did not touch the cup. "I know that the person behind the wheel of the car that hit Grace was you, Nicole." Nicole's hand, holding her own teacup, shook a little. The small spoon inside hit the side of the cup. "That is a mistake," she said quickly, trying to sound calm. She looked away from his direct gaze. "No, it is not a mistake," Officer Brady replied. He leaned forward slightly. "After Grace gave her statement to the police, we found the car. It was hidden, but we found it." He paused, letting his words sink in. "And we found out who the car belongs to. It belongs to you, Nicole." Officer Brady looked straight at Nicole. "And now I know." Nicole quickly pushed a different teacup, a full one, towards him. "Quiet," she interrupted loudly. "Officer, do you want some tea? Please have some. It is fresh." She tried to change the subject, her heart beating fast. Officer Brady looked at the steaming teacup. He did not drink. He gently pushed it away from him. "Is something wrong with the tea?" he asked, his eyes narrow. He watched Nicole's face carefully. She tried to force a smile, but it did not reach her eyes. "Nice try, Nicole," Officer Brady said. His voice was calm, but his words were sharp. "Do you think I am an idiot? Something tells me this tea was not meant for me. It was meant for Grace, wasn't it? Tell me, Nicole, what exactly do you want?" Nicole took a deep breath. She stepped closer to him. Her eyes were wide, filled with a mix of fear and a strange kind of hope. "We do not have to be enemies, officer," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper. "We can be partners. We can help each other. Officer, I think I know how we might come to a good arrangement, a way for both of us to get what we want." "That is not what I want," Officer Brady said, his voice firm. He wanted only one thing: money. "I want $1 million, Nicole." Nicole's mouth dropped open in shock. Her face turned pale. "What? Are you freaking insane? She asked, her voice rising. $1 million? That is too much. No, I am not insane, Officer Brady said. He looked at her with a hard, cold face. He knew her secret, and he was ready to use it. A few days later, Mr. Gray visited the police station. He was Stephen's father, a rich and powerful man. Stephen was Grace's ex-fiancé, and he cared deeply for her. Mr. Gray looked very worried as he spoke to Officer Brady. Officer, any news on the investigation about Grace's accident? He asked, his hands clasped together. Actually, yes, Mr. Gray, Officer Brady said, with a small, false smile. I think I know who hit your Grace. He paused for a moment, making Mr. Gray wait. You see, all the evidence points to one person and one person only. And it was. Officer Brady stopped talking again. He pretended to think very deeply. On second thought, I think I had better double-check everything. We need to be 100% sure, right? He gave a small, knowing look. Or, I should say, 1,000,000% sure. Mr. Gray's face showed his impatience. He frowned. Then do not waste time, officer, he said firmly. Find out who is guilty and bring them to justice. Okay, sir, Officer Brady said, nodding respectfully. He watched Mr. Gray leave the station, a satisfied look slowly spreading across his face. Later that day, back in his office, Officer Brady called Nicole. Listen, he said, his voice quiet. Stephen may have a lot of money, but there is no way he will give me a freaking $1 million just like that. He is too smart. Well, if not Stephen, then perhaps someone else will pay, Nicole asked, her voice curious. Who? Do not play stupid, Nicole, Officer Brady said, sounding annoyed. You know Stephen still has strong feelings for your sister, Grace. They were practically married before the accident. It is really good that you decided to stay here with me, you know. You can tell me all about him. What are you saying? Nicole asked, her voice low, a new idea forming in her mind. If Grace disappears, Stephen will pay anything to get her back. He will pay any price, no matter how high. But that will never happen, Nicole said, shaking her head. The idea felt too big, too dangerous. No, it will happen, Officer Brady said, with a dark smile. And you will help me make it happen even sooner than you think. Officer Brady gave Nicole a detailed plan. Whisper into your fiancé's ear, he instructed her. Get him to take Grace someplace special, out of her home. Just give him a small spark, Nicole, a little idea. Then the fire will ignite all by itself. Trust me. Nicole went to Stephen's house. She put on a sweet, fake smile. Honey, I have an idea, she said to him, trying to sound innocent. It is a really good idea for you and Grace." Stephen looked surprised. He had been so sad since Grace woke up, but could not remember their past. "An idea? What is the occasion?" he asked, confused. "You," Nicole said, trying to make it sound romantic. "And this." She held out a small, beautifully wrapped box. "Just open it, Stephen." Stephen took the box. "But won't Nicole mind if I take Grace out?" he asked. He still thought Nicole was his girlfriend. "No, she is the one who suggested it," Nicole lied smoothly. "It was my idea. I think Grace needs some happiness." Later that evening, Grace asked Stephen, "And where are we going tonight?" Stephen was excited, his eyes shining. "It is a surprise, Grace," he said, taking her hand. "Tonight, this restaurant is just ours, only for us." Grace went with Stephen to the restaurant. She could not believe what he had done for her. The place was incredibly beautiful, decorated with hundreds of white flowers, just like a wedding. Soft music played. "I dreamed that we would get married here one day," Grace whispered, looking around. Then their special song, "Our Song," started to play. Stephen offered his hand to her. "Shall we dance, Grace?" he asked, his eyes full of old love. Grace smiled, a tear starting to form in her eye. "You remembered everything, Stephen," she said, her voice soft with emotion. Stephen looked deeply into her eyes as they danced. "It looks just like a dream to you, I know. But I have replayed our wedding in my head so many times, every detail. So I decided to make it real for us, even for one night." He took a small, velvet box from his pocket. Inside was a shining ring. "I even got the same ring," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "The one I promised to put on your finger." Grace felt a strong mix of feelings. Her heart ached. "Just let me feel, even for a moment, what that would have been like, what our life would have been like. Could everything she had once lost, her memory, her love, become hers again?" Just then, the grand doors of the restaurant burst open. Ryan stood there, his face red with anger, his chest rising and falling quickly. "Grace!" he called out loudly, his voice filling the quiet room. "I need to explain everything to you." Stephen quickly turned round, his happy smile gone. "What are you doing here, Ryan?" he asked, his voice sharp. Ryan pointed at Stephen. "Grace, you got it all wrong," he shouted. "That woman, Nicole, the one you saw Stephen with, she was not his girlfriend. She was his cousin, his relative. He lied to you." "Please, Grace, come back to me," Stephen begged, holding Grace's hand tightly. His eyes pleaded with her. Ryan walked quickly towards them. "What the hell are you doing in my house, Ryan?" Stephen asked, his voice full of anger. This was his special night. "The door was open," Ryan said simply, looking only at Grace. She is not going anywhere with you, Stephen. Not now, not ever. That is not for you to decide, Ryan, Stephen shouted back. We were almost married. We had a future. And who the hell are you? Ryan asked Stephen, stepping closer. I am the one who was there for her every single day while she was in the coma, Ryan said, his voice strong and clear. Unlike someone else, Stephen. Unlike you. Stephen and Ryan began to argue loudly. Their voices filled the restaurant. Guys, Grace cried out, trying to stop them. Her head started to hurt. Please stop. Leave us alone, Ryan told him, pulling Grace closer. Like you left her alone in a coma, Stephen? Ryan replied, his words like a punch. You left her, I stayed. Look, little kid, I am not playing your games, Stephen shouted, ready to fight. Why the hell was the door even open then, Stephen? Ryan asked again, not letting go. Grace felt so confused. Her mind raced. She loved Ryan, but Stephen was her past, her first love. She felt pulled in two directions. Grace, I am leaving you now, Stephen suddenly shouted, looking very angry. He let go of her hand and started to walk away. Wait, Grace cried. Just then, she heard a loud noise. It sounded like a heavy door closing, far away, somewhere outside the restaurant. Did you hear that? She asked, looking around wildly. But it was too late. Stephen and Ryan were still arguing. They did not hear her. Grace! Grace! They called, realizing she was no longer there. They looked around the empty space where she had just been. Grace, where are you? Grace was gone. A short time later, a text message arrived on Stephen's phone. His hands shook as he read it. Abandoned government factory. Be there in exactly 1 hour. Bring $1 million if you want your girlfriend to stay alive. Do not call the police. Stephen showed the message to Ryan. She has been kidnapped, he told Ryan, his voice full of fear. I am calling the police right now, Ryan said, already reaching for his phone. No, Stephen shouted, stopping Ryan. Stay out of it, Ryan. I will handle this myself. My way. How will you handle it? Just hand the money over? What if he kills her anyway? You have no promise. Listen, Ryan, Stephen said, his voice urgent. If you want to save Grace, we must work together. We have to be a team. All right, Ryan said, nodding slowly. You are right. It is Grace we need to save. Call the police, Stephen. Stephen hesitated, then put his phone down. He looked at the message again. Damn it, he said, sighing. Just let it be. I cannot call them. He looked at Ryan, his face serious. Sorry, Ryan, but playing a hero will only put Grace in more danger. I will do this my way, alone if I must. At the abandoned factory, Grace was tied to a chair. She was very scared, her heart beating fast.
A man with a dark mask covered his face stood in front of her. "You have the wrong person," Grace said, her voice trembling but clear. "I did nothing bad. Please, let me go. I have no money." "Patience, princess," the masked man said, his voice deep and cold. "I want $1 million for you, Grace. Stephen will pay." "That is insane," Grace said, shaking her head. "No one would pay so much money for me. I am not worth $1 million. "You are wrong, Grace," the masked man said. He laughed softly. "Stephen will, yes, Stephen will pay."
Soon Stephen arrived at the factory. He carried a heavy bag full of money. "Yes, Stephen," he said, looking at the masked man. "I brought the money, just like you asked. Now let Grace go." The masked man laughed, a cruel sound. "Too bad they promised to kill me anyway," he said. He looked at Grace, then at Stephen. "Stephen, wait!" Grace shouted, trying to warn him. "Shut up," the masked man said, loudly to Grace. "No," Stephen shouted. He dropped the bag of money. "You have what you wanted. Now let her go, right now." "No, no, he is not letting me go, Stephen," Grace cried, tears running down her face. She felt helpless. "Calm down, Grace," Stephen said, trying to sound strong. He moved closer to her. "It is going to be fine. I will protect you. I promise." Suddenly, Ryan burst through a side door. He ran into the large, empty room. "Whoa, whoa, whoa, wait!" Ryan said, looking at the masked man. "What are you doing? This is not the plan." He turned to Stephen. "I held out my end of the deal. Hell, I even stopped that fool, Stephen, from trying to save her earlier." The masked man looked at Ryan with a surprised face. "Well, damn shame," he said, a hint of anger in his voice. Maybe he would have managed to save her after all. Stephen looked at Ryan, confused and angry. "Hello, Ryan," Stephen said. "Why are you here? I never told you to come. I told you to stay away." "I never live in danger, Stephen," Ryan said, trying to sound confident. "I had it all under control. I came to help." "Shut up and grab the gun before he gets up," the masked man suddenly shouted to Ryan, pointing to a gun on the floor near Stephen. Stephen was moving to stand up. Ryan looked at the masked man, annoyed. "Oh, you think you are giving me orders now?" he asked, hesitating. "Put your ego aside, Ryan," the masked man shouted, his voice getting louder. "We are running out of time. Grab the gun." Ryan slowly reached for the gun, his fingers touching the cold metal. The masked man laughed again, a harsh, mocking sound. "Whoa," he said, looking at the two men. "Two brave men standing here, and only one beauty. This is the end of your fairy tale, sweetheart." He raised his gun, pointing it at Grace. "Wait! Stop!" Grace screamed, her eyes wide with terror.
Ryan moved incredibly fast. He pushed Stephen away from Grace. "No!" Ryan shouted. He quickly ran and stood directly in front of Grace, covering her with his body. The gun fired. A loud, terrible sound filled the factory. Ryan fell to the ground. "This is our chance, Grace!" Stephen shouted, pulling her arm. "Run! Now!" "I am not leaving him!" cried Grace, trying to pull away. "No! I cannot leave him here!" "There is nothing you can do for him now, Grace," Stephen said, his voice firm and sad. He pulled her harder. "He is gone. Let us go." He dragged her out of the factory. Outside, Grace was sobbing uncontrollably. "It is my fault, Stephen," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "If you had not come for me, if I had not been kidnapped, he would still be alive. He died because of me." Stephen tried to hold her. "All our plans went south anyway, Grace," he said softly, trying to comfort her. "So it is time for Plan B now. Do not worry." He looked into her eyes. "Hey, look at me. I am with you. It is okay. You are safe now." Stephen thought for a moment. That fool, Ryan. He brought it on himself, Grace. He should not have played the hero. He should have stayed away. Grace pushed Stephen away from her with all her strength. Her eyes flashed with anger. "Do not you dare say that, Stephen," she shouted. "He sacrificed himself for me. He loved me more than anything." "But what about me, Grace?" Stephen asked, his voice full of pain. "I love you too. I could have taken that bullet for you just as well. My love is real." "But you did not, Stephen," Grace said, her voice cold and hard. "You did not."
Officer Brady and Nicole arrived at the factory with more police officers a few minutes later. Officer Brady saw Grace and Stephen. "Grace?" he asked, surprised. "But you were... what happened here?" "Grace was kidnapped, officer," Stephen explained quickly. "We tried to save her, but the masked man shot Ryan. He is dead." "Oh my God," Nicole said, covering her mouth with her hand. She looked shocked. "That is really, really sad. Poor Ryan." Officer Brady picked up the bullet. "This bullet was meant for Grace," he said, looking at Stephen. "But do you know who is behind all this? Who is the masked man?" "Not yet, officer," said Stephen, "but we will find out who did this." Officer Brady looked at Nicole, then at Stephen. "Enough," he said, loudly. "Watch your breath, Stephen. I will get the killer. You take Grace and watch her out of here. She really needs to pull herself together. She is very upset." Officer Brady looked at Nicole again, giving her a silent signal. "You two go," he said, pointing to Stephen and Grace. "Let us go."
At the police station, Officer Brady sat with Nicole in an interrogation room. "Open up, Nicole," he said, his voice harsh. "You idiot! You killed the wrong person. Ryan was not part of the plan." "Me?" Nicole asked, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. "No, officer, I did nothing. I swear." "You did, Nicole," Officer Brady said, his voice firm and cold. "You are under arrest for everything."
What? No! No! You cannot do this to me, Nicole screamed, standing up quickly.
"Oh, yes, I can," Officer Brady said, a cruel smile on his face. "It all lines up perfectly. 7 years ago, you tried to kill your sister, Grace, with your car. But you failed. And now that she is out of the coma, you panicked. You knew the truth would come out to everyone, so you decided to finish the job, to kill her this time and keep your secrets safe." "That is not true," Nicole shouted, tears streaming down her face. "You are lying completely." "Oh, no?" Officer Brady asked. He took a small plastic evidence bag from his pocket. Inside was a pistol. "Then what is the gun that Ryan was tragically killed with doing in your personal things, Nicole? We found it meticulously hidden in your apartment." "He is trying to frame me," Nicole screamed, looking desperately towards the closed door, searching for an escape. "I will tell everyone that you were my accomplice, my partner in crime. You helped me commit these acts." "Your mysterious accomplice, Nicole," Officer Brady said, shaking his head slowly, a condescending smirk on his face, "fled the scene of the crime. He took all the cash with him, disappearing without a trace, a ghost. And now you are desperately blaming me because I am a brave, heroic cop who courageously arrested you and boldly saved the day." Officer Brady spoke into his radio, his voice clear, confident, and utterly devoid of guilt. "Sarge, it is all clear. The suspect is in custody. You can bring her down to the station right away for booking." Stephen arrived at the station and witnessed Nicole being led away in cold handcuffs. He looked at Officer Brady, his face a canvas of disbelief and profound shock. "Your own sister, Nicole, did all this?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "Only to be with me, Stephen?" "Well, unfortunately, Mr. Gray," Officer Brady said, affecting a tone of sad sympathy, "it is often the ones closest to us that can prove to be the most dangerous. People sometimes commit crazy, desperate acts for love or for intense, consuming jealousy." He looked at Stephen seriously, his eyes calculating. "Mr. Gray, make sure to pack some warm things for Nicole, because our prison cells can be pretty cold, especially during the long nights." Officer Brady offered a polite but undeniably cold nod. "Well, good day, ma'am."
Stephen looked at Officer Brady, his mind still racing, trying to process the complex web of events. "Wait," he said, his voice gaining strength. "What about her accomplice? Ryan's killer is still out there somewhere. I will not let that jerk get away with it. We need to find him immediately and bring him to justice." "Who?" Officer Brady asked, pretending to be confused and feigning innocence. "Oh, you see, those bad guys, the masked men, they usually operate alone. They are one-time jabbers, meaning they work only once and disappear. So I am sure he is no longer useful. He is gone forever." "But I can identify him," Stephen said, his voice strong and filled with a renewed determination. "I distinctly remember a very clear, unique tattoo on his arm. I saw it clearly when he raised his gun." Officer Brady's face changed subtly, a brief flicker of fear or alarm in his eyes, quickly masked. "Why did you not say anything earlier, Mr. Gray? Can you draw the tattoo for us right now, with all details? Yes, Stephen said, his resolve hardening. Please do. I need to end this terrible story once and for all. I need to find Ryan's killer and ensure he pays for his crime. Officer Brady nodded, feigning helpfulness, his expression carefully neutral. It is a good thing we stopped your sister in time. Who knows what other terrible things she could have done next? It is a shame we could not save you as a friend, Ryan. You were a good, brave man. He looked at Stephen with a strange, calculating glint in his eye.
Suddenly, a clear, unmistakable voice came from the doorway, cutting through the tension. I guess it is too soon to bury me. Everyone turned quickly, their heads snapping toward the sound. Ryan stood there, a fresh bandage visible on his arm, but undeniably alive and well. Grace, who had been sitting quietly, numb with shock, sprang up from her chair. "Ryan, I thought I lost you forever," she cried, running to him and hugging him tightly, tears of pure, overwhelming joy streaming down her face. "Luckily," Ryan said, smiling warmly, his eyes shining with affection, "your charm broke its magic, Grace. The bullet miraculously hit the small metal heart-shaped lock you gave me. It was an incredibly lucky hit, a true miracle from fate." Could it be, Grace thought, a wave of profound hope and relief washing over her, that fate is finally, truly on my side? Finally, something genuinely good is happening to me. Officer Brady looked completely, utterly shocked. Then his face twisted into deep anger. "Great! Another living witness to our problems," he said loudly, trying desperately to cover his intense fear and panic. "We will catch the bastard in the end. We will find him, no matter what." "No need to look for him anymore, officer," Ryan said, his voice calm, clear, and utterly confident. He looked directly and firmly into Officer Brady's now terrified eyes. "Because it was you, all along. You were the masked man, the mastermind behind everything." Officer Brady's face went completely white, drained of all color. His mouth opened, but no words came out, only a choked gasp. "What?" he whispered, his voice weak and trembling. "You were still in shock. You do not know what you were truly saying, Ryan. You were confused." "Funny, officer," Ryan said, a small, knowing and triumphant smile playing on his lips. "Because I remember your face perfectly, under that mask. The old plan went south anyway, meaning it utterly failed. So it is clearly time for Plan B for you, officer, and it won't be good." Officer Brady tried to bolt and run, but other police officers, who had been waiting outside, quickly entered the room, surrounding him. "Hello, police boys," Ryan shouted into his phone, making sure everyone heard his precise instructions. "There has been a shooting at the factory, yeah? I think I saw the masked man, yeah? And he's Officer Brady. Please hurry, they are trying to get away." Officer Brady stopped, frozen in fear, surprise, and utter defeat. "Wait, wait," he said, his voice shaking badly, desperate to explain.
It is not what it looks like, I promise you. You scoundrel! Stephen shouted, stepping forward with intense anger, his face twisted with disgust. It was you! All this terrible time, you were the villain. Do not worry, Stephen, Ryan said, looking at him calmly, a sense of justice prevailing. I have already explained everything to the sergeant outside. He already knows the whole terrible truth. Sarge, Officer Brady said into his radio, his voice now desperate and pleading, are you really going to believe this nutjob, this crazy man, over a loyal officer? Too many precise details for it to be a lie, Officer Brady. The Sarge's voice came clearly and coldly through the radio. You will stay in custody until we sort this out thoroughly. You are officially under arrest for your crimes.
Ryan looked at Grace, his gaze tender and full of unspoken words. Hey, Sarge, he whispered, looking happy and profoundly relieved. I dreamed of feeling my skin again, Grace. You, my love, saved me with that hot lock. Grace hugged him tightly, tears of pure, unadulterated joy now streaming down her face. Ryan, she said, no, please, not again. Do not ever leave me again, my darling. Stephen came closer, his face serious and etched with a deep sadness, but also acceptance. I heard everything, Ryan, he said, his voice sincere. Thank you for saving her. Grace means the world to me, more than words can say. I know, Ryan said, looking at Stephen, then at Grace, with deep, understanding emotion. She means the world to me too, Stephen, but we cannot both be with her. She has to make a choice, a difficult one. Ryan turned to Grace, his eyes full of love, patience, and understanding. Grace, he said, the years without you were utterly unbearable, a heavy burden on my soul. I cannot live any single day without you any more, my love, my life. Stephen looked at Grace, his heart in his eyes, full of desperate hope and a silent plea. Me too, Grace, he said. When I stepped in front of the bullet, my only fear, my deepest terror, was that I would never see you again. My life would be utterly empty without your presence. Grace looked from Ryan to Stephen, her heart feeling heavy with this momentous decision, but also overflowing with love for both of them in different ways. Oh God, she thought, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. I have to choose. My heart tells me one thing, my past tells me another, but my future demands a decision. We will accept whatever decision you make, Grace, Ryan said, softly, giving her all the space and time she needed to think clearly without pressure. I am so incredibly close to both of you, Grace said, looking at each man, her eyes full of the weight of her emotions. She took a deep, steadying breath, preparing to speak her truth, her ultimate decision. But I truly love only one. A few years later, life moved forward, blossoming beautifully. Stephen stood at the elegant door of a warm, brightly lit house. Steve, he said, smiling widely, a genuine, joyful expression on his face. He looked at the happy couple inside, his very best friends.
surrounded by love and laughter. Wow, this is truly incredible and wonderful to behold. Congratulations, Stephen said to Grace and Ryan. They were the new, proud parents, holding a small, peacefully sleeping baby in their arms, a testament to their enduring love. Ryan wore a nice, new, tailored suit. He looked very happy, content, and proud. "Thanks, mate," he said to Stephen, shaking his hand firmly. A bond of friendship now stronger than rivalry. "All this amazing party for us?" Grace asked, looking at the many friends and family filling the house. There was a grand celebration, delicious food, joyous music, and heartfelt laughter everywhere. "Yep," Stephen said, his smile genuine and heartfelt. "You two are my very best friends, my chosen family. I simply had to throw a grand celebration for your little one, a brand new life, a new chapter for all of us." Grace smiled warmly, a twinkle in her eye. "You know, I think something important is still missing from this perfect picture," she said, looking at Ryan with playful affection.
Really? What could possibly be missing, my love? Ryan asked, a little confused but intrigued.
"A godfather for our beautiful baby," Grace said, her gaze settling meaningfully on Stephen. Stephen looked utterly surprised and overwhelmed with happiness. "No!" he exclaimed, almost shouting with pure joy. "Yup," Grace and Ryan said together, laughing happily at his reaction. "Really? Are you truly serious?" Stephen asked, a big, bright, delighted smile spreading across his face. "No, we are kidding," Grace said, then paused playfully, letting the suspense build. "Of course! Yes, Stephen. We want you to be the godfather for our precious child." Stephen's eyes filled with profound happiness and gratitude. "Oh my God, of course, yes," he said loudly, his voice thick with emotion. "Oh, thanks, guys. Oh my God, thank you so, so much. This means everything to me." He hugged them both tightly, a strong bond of love, family, and friendship solidified. Grace thought deeply about her life journey, reflecting on how far she had come from despair. One day, a terrible fate had seemed to take away everything from her past, her memories, her love, her very future. She had longed to get it all back for a long, painful time, until she realized something truly profound and essential. It was time to move forward, not backward, to embrace the future with open arms and a hopeful heart, to build a new, beautiful life with her true love, Ryan, and her wonderful, growing family. Her path was finally clear.